Hi guys, Buildzoid here, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a filler video looking at a kind of insane FX 6300 that I managed to get my hands on. So basically, the story goes that I was on eBay, I stumble across this ASRock 990FX Fatality professional board. It comes with 16 gigs of memory and also a FX 6300, and it's, at the time it was relatively cheap. Ultimately, I ended up winning it for 85 quid, which I would say is a bit too much for a FX. The thing is, like, when somebody bundles 16 gigs of DDR3 with a board, the price just goes through the roof, which is really stupid. I didn't want the memory at all. And the memory really isn't great. It's some, like, two of the sticks are some single rank Hynix AFR 4 gigabit. The other two sticks are some single dual rank Hynix AFR 1 gigabit. No, 2 gigabit. There. Yeah, it basically came with a bunch of these sticks in two different memory chip configurations, so that's kind of, yeah, whatever. And it came with an FX 6300. Oh, and it also came with the air cooler that I'm currently using, except it came with different fans. Those fans are very dusty, so I'm using one of the fans that I just sort of have lying around. The board is still really dusty. I wanted the board because the VRM looked kind of interesting. There's an awful lot of 990FX motherboards where the VRM is complete and utter trash, or the BIOS is trash. And so it's very hard to find good 990FX boards. And I have a rather large AM3 Plus motherboard collection. I have some great Asus boards. I have some gigabyte boards that I like to use, but it's not because they're particularly great. And I also have an ASRock 990FX Extreme 9, which has, in my opinion, one of the worst BIOSes I've ever used. Anyway, so I picked this up because I was like, BIOS might be terrible, but the VRM is interesting, so I want it. And so I got the board, and it came with the FX 6300, and I figured, hey, you know what, like, let's test out the 6300, see what kind of, frequencies it can hit, because really the only thing I'm really interested in with FX CPUs is maximum CPU-Z validations. And so, yeah, I decided to, see what I can do with this CPU, and within a couple minutes, I managed to get this. Yes, 5.6 gigahertz on a 6300 on air cooling. Like, literally, this air cooler that we're using right now, like, that is what I got that validation on, with the fan just kind of sitting there. Anyway, so this validation puts me 31st of the 100 something plus FX 6300 validations on HardwareBot. It is the highest validation on air cooling, though I think there's also some, like, it's the highest validation on air cooling, but the thing is, I don't know how many, like, there might be some air-cooled validations that are, like, on stock cooling, right? Like, well, okay, if that's the actual stock cooler, then yes, that actually looks like the limit. There's some water-cooled validations, which aren't that far off. I'm not doing... I'm not willing to shove enough voltage into this chip that it would do, like, at this point, like, I want to save this chip for liquid nitrogen, so, yeah, because it is very good, and I have a sort of goal of having 8 gigahertz validations. I already have 2. I have an 8.34 with an FX 9590, I have an 8.03 with an FX 8320E, so I want to get, if I could get an 8 gigahertz out of the 6300, that would be awesome. So I don't really want to blow it up on air cooling because, I mean, FX chips are very, very hard to blow up, but, I'd rather not take my chances when, like, this chip is so good. Anyway, let's actually do a validation right now, because I think I can actually improve on my score. So the BIOS is, it's not the worst ASRock BIOS I've ever come across. Like, the annoying thing with ASRock motherboards is like, BIOS is just completely all over the place. Like, some of them are absolutely horrendous, some of them are really good, but this is one of the key features that you want on a 990FX motherboard, in my opinion, and a lot of Asus boards don't have this, which is super annoying. 1 core per unit. You get it on gigabyte boards, you get it on basically all ASRock boards that I've ever tried have had this option. And then on Asus boards, it only is available on the first wave Asus motherboards. The second and third wave Asus motherboards don't have this option because Asus are crazy, is basically the only reason I can think of. Anyway, we're going to disable all the power management stuff because that just, especially on FX, it's basically broken. We're going to set this to manual. We're not going to set the CPU ratio in the BIOS. We're just going to change the voltage, and we're going to go all the way up to 1.65, which is for like that's as much as I'd be willing to expose the CPU to on air cooling. Yeah, and then other than that, we're just going to bump up our load line calibration to 50%. I've not taken the oscilloscope to the board. I don't know if that's the optimal load line setting, but it's probably, like, disabled is probably suboptimal, and 100% is probably way too droopy. And we actually shouldn't have to change anything else over here. Now we go to our CPU configuration and disable even more of the power-saving garbage that these chips come with. So yeah, we're going to disable everything. Because if you're doing a CPU validation, you basically want the CPU to be doing as little work as physically possible. Like, the less work the CPU is doing, the less likely it is to randomly crash. So I think at this point we're done with everything I want to change in the BIOS. So now we just hit F10 and save. And I gotta say, I rather like this BIOS. Also, you know what I really miss about DDR3 motherboards? The fact that they don't spend forever booting up. Like DDR5, like DDR4 is slow to boot. DDR5 is an absolute nightmare. What? Why is it on defaults? Oh, I think it's because I messed with the clear CMOS. Okay. Yeah, I was messing around with clearing the BIOS earlier, so that's probably why that came up. Yeah, but like the board boots so quickly. It's great. There, and now we're going into Windows 7, the one true operating system. The best OS Microsoft ever made. Yeah, also we've got a low resolution, which is actually kind of nice because you guys are going to be able to see what's going on, though I might bump this up a little bit because I don't... Oh, actually we can't. Okay, so it's just a limitation of the capture card, I think, right now. Unless I can change that. I kind of wanted like 720p or something. Wait. Oh. I was wondering if we could do like... What is 720p? It's like... Okay, let's do 1600. No, can I... Well, okay. So, unfortunately, that's not improving. Yeah, okay, we're stuck at 1024. Okay, this is going to be kind of awkward. Anyway, we're going to pull up PS check. Where's PS check? There's PS check. Yeah. And we're going to drop our CPU into the lowest P state. We're also going to open up CPU Z. And we're going to run out of step base on this desktop very quickly. So, anyway, we're at 201 on the base clock. And so... we should actually beat my previous validation, because my previous validation was just 200 by 28, so 5600 megahertz. Now we're going to be going for 201 by 28. So this tool that I'm using called AMD PS Check, this is a internal AMD, like, actually it tells you, right? Yeah, AMD Confidential. Unfortunately for AMD, somebody leaked this, but fortunately for us, it's great. Like, it's a really great tool. Imagine if Ryzen Master was this and not what it actually is. I would be much happier with it. I might even use it then. Anyway, what we want to do is also I want to crank the CPU vid to 0 on our base P state, because right now our CPU is idling at like 0.96 volts, and the problem with this is when you, well, right now if I change P states on one of the cores, like if I put this core to P1, the voltage should change. Yeah, you can see that the voltage is like changing as I go through the P states. And this is bad because every time the voltage has to change, that produces a transient. There's the potential for the VRM to screw something up. So we don't want the VRM actually changing the output voltage because that is terrible for stability. Which is also why we disabled all the power saving stuff. So now we're going to save our configuration. That's going to remove basically all of the P states. And now since I also set our base P, like our minimum P state voltage to 1.55 volts, we're at 1.64 volts. And this is one of my favorite things about this board is when I first saw that the voltage control in the BIOS was like looked to be vid based, I was really concerned that I would run into the same issue that I have with one of my Gigabyte boards where it's like, your voltage is super dependent on what P state you're in. And that is really bad because you want, like I said, you want the voltage to be fixed. You do not want the voltage moving around as you're trying to do your validation. This is really bad for stability. So yeah, I have a gigabyte board where, like, it's the board is super annoying to use because like you don't have proper static voltage on that board. On this board, the way the voltage works is that up to 1.55 volts, it just uses the regular vid system, and then above that, it just adds an offset on top of the voltage that the CPU is set to. And so what's really cool, and I don't know if that offset goes all the way up to 2 volts. I hope it does, because on LN2, I'm definitely gonna, like, a lot of CPUs, you're gonna need like 2 volts to get 8 gigahertz. But yeah, the fact that it's an offset, like if I just set both of my vid voltages to 1.55, like it just locks it into 1.64. So that's really cool. And I remember that being a massive problem with one of my gigabyte boards, so I'm really pleased that that works the way it does here. Anyway, now we're going to start playing with our frequency, and we're just going to bump it up straight to 25, which is going to bump us up to 5300. Also, can I... Oh, no, I can't rescale this window. That's really dumb. Okay, so we're going to save that. Can I move PS check off the... Yeah, okay, because I want access to that core. Anyway, now we're going to set CPU Z to show us our, like, core that we care about. Then we're going to go to P0. And you can see we're at 5.326, so we hit our F7 key, and that is going to save a validation file, which you can't see because it's buried by all of the windows because we don't have 1080p right now. Actually, you can see the file pop up right there. All right, so that's our validation file over there. That's 5326. And I think you might have to have CPU-Z in Extreme OC mode, maybe. Apparently not. Okay. Well, actually, we're just going to put it in that just in case. And now we're going to go back down to P4. And I'm actually just going to skip all the way to the 28x ratio. Yeah, so we're going to go CPU frequency 5600. So now that should be 5620 something, right? Because we're going to be doing 28 times 201. So that's going to be 5628. Yeah, so now we're going to go to P0. Hopefully this doesn't crash. I tried 5.65 and that did crash. So now we hit F7. And looks like that's saved. Yes, it did. Yeah. So, yeah, like, this FX 6300 is an absolute beast. Like, this chip is absolutely insane. Also, if you're wondering why we need PS check, it's because the other two cores on this CPU, or more like the other two modules, actually suck. So if I drop this to P4, and we're going to close our CPU configuration. So we just validated a 5627 on air cooling, right? Like, that's... Like it's even higher than my previous top score, and my top, like, I'm already at the top of the air cooling leaderboard, and we're just going up from here. Anyway, we're gonna go to, like, if I do 5600 on P0, I'm pretty sure it'll immediately on, like, the first CPU, it'll immediately lock up the whole system, and yep, it does. So now the system is locked up, and we just need to hit the reset button, and yeah, that's how you do validations. On FX CPUs. At least if you have a board that behaves properly. There are some boards where you're going to be spending so much time fighting the, like, software that it's, like, super frustrating. And so, initial impressions for me with this board are really good. I've not yet tested if it has the necessary base clock range, because one of the problems what you run into, especially once you take FX chips on LN2, is that all of the ratios are actually not equal. So, like, if we scroll through the ratios, and you don't notice this on, like, water cooling or air cooling, but once you're on liquid nitrogen, on a lot of CPUs, the, like, 32, like, 31, broken. 31.5, broken. 30.5, broken. 30, broken. 29.5. Like, I've had some CPUs that work, like, best on very specifically, like, 28 times or 27 times, or, like, there's a very specific ratio where you can max them out, and then the higher ratios are basically unusable because the stability is really bad. I don't know why exactly that happens. It also varies by CPUs. I have some CPUs that I think I've used even the 30x ratio, or maybe even the 31, I think, sometimes, but yeah, that is something to sort of watch out for with FX CPUs, where, you know, if you're on LN2, like, all of the ratios aren't created equal, so you're going to want to test which ratio is best for your chip. And then the other issue you run into is, like, well, if you're on something like 28x, right, you need a lot of FSB. And there are some motherboards that are, like, exceptionally bad, where, like, let's say I want 8 gigahertz on 28x, right? So if we do 8,000 divided by 28, I'm just doing the calculator. Yeah, so you need, like, if you wanted an 8 gigahertz validation, you need a 285 FSB. And that doesn't really sound that high, but I've seen motherboards that don't go over 270. And then you're screwed, right? If you have a chip which likes 28x and you have a motherboard that doesn't do 28.5 on the VCLK, like, you're screwed. So that's one of the other things that needs to be, like, you need to check. I've not yet checked that on this motherboard if the North Bridge is good, because the motherboards all have, there's like an actual North Bridge on 990FX motherboards, and the North Bridge affects this quite significantly. You can have quite a large variance board to board based on the North Bridge. I think it also depends on the CPU to some extent. But yeah, like like, there are boards where they just suck at BCLK, and that is a potential issue. But yeah, I mean, I already have like a board that I used for all of my past validations, but it's like I'd like to add some other options to my motherboard collection for 990FX. So that's why I picked this up, and in the process, I got an absolutely beastly FX6300. So the main concern at this point is if this FX6300 is able to do, like, if it scales with liquid nitrogen properly, because you can get CPUs that are amazing on air cooling, and then you take them sub-zero and they just don't go anywhere. Like, they'll get like stuck at like 7.5 gigahertz, which is terrible. So yeah, I really hope this one scales properly, but I don't really have any way of knowing ahead of time. Because the thing is, like, I've had chips that were incredibly leaky and very temperamental, and I've had chips that were not very leaky, and I still managed to push them to 8 gigahertz. And I've also had chips that were like, just terrible on air cooling, and then terrible on liquid nitrogen. Like, they were just terrible across the board. So yeah, I've not spotted like a real like, I've not tested enough CPUs to notice a consistent pattern of like chips that do 8 gigahertz behave like this at ambient. Because I've had chips where, like, at ambient I was like, oh, this thing's terrible, this isn't going to go anywhere, and then it's like, oh, it's fine. I've had chips which at ambient were like, oh, this is amazing, and then you take it on liquid nitrogen and it's terrible. So yeah. Anyway, this is how you do FX validations. Also, I guess I should mention that the ambient air temperature right now is about 19 degrees Celsius. So this is air cooling. Like, it's not like I'm sticking the system outside, like out the window, like, no, this is just straight air cooling. Actually, I think if I put it on water cooling and I stuck the radiator outside the window, it would maybe validate 5650, maybe even 5700, but yeah, I'm not really like this chip is already a beast, and I am very happy. Like, at this point, I just want to run it on liquid nitrogen. I feel like flopping around with water cooling and stuff is just like waste of time. So yeah, this chip is insane. Like, I bought I just wanted the board, and then I get an FX6300 like this. So yeah, hopefully it scales. I really hope it scales, because that, like, I've had this happen before where I'd have a CPU where on ambient I was like, oh, this thing's great, and then terrible. And so yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave any comments, questions, suggestions down in the comment section below. If you'd like to support what I do here with Actually Hardcore Overclocking, I have a Patreon. There is a link to that down in the description below. There's also the AHOC Teespring store where you can pick up shirts, stickers, posters, the usual YouTuber merch. And I also have a Bandcamp for my solo, like, industrial metal noise project. So if you'd like to check that out, there's a link to that in the description as well. Patreon, Teespring, Bandcamp, they all help out immensely with running the channel. So if you check them out, that would be much appreciated. And that's it for the video. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.